What's up, slackers? That's my new thing. I'm Sean, you're slackers. But don't worry, I'm a slacker too. It's important to read the signs. Obviously, I'm Gen X because, you know. Anyway, the point is, sometimes I find myself pining for simpler times. Like before the internet, before cell phones. Remember when you didn't have to look at that every couple of seconds? God, it was nice. Do you guys remember the 90s? I do. I mean, like at least 65% of it. I don't know what happened to the rest of it. Anyway, we'll get to that. Ah, the 90s. Grunge, the rise of hip hop, techno, house, Calvin Klein, but also thrift stores and ripped clothes and making it up as you went along and scuffy boots. Movies, man. Oh, the rise of the independent film houses, Tarantino, Linkletter, television, Seinfeld, Friends, The Simpsons. Then, of course, there's the dawn of the internet. That maybe didn't turn out exactly the way we'd hoped, but whatever. Yet with all of that going on, some of us receded, drew into ourselves. We slacked. I slacked hard. I slacked so good. Really good at slacking. In any event, that's got me wondering, you know, if I'm all stressed out these days about what's going on in the world and all the things that are happening, maybe I just need to draw back to a simpler time. I thought it might be interesting. What if I tried to live a day in my own shoes from the 90s? If I tried to recreate a typical day for me, could I live like that again? Could I take it? Could 53-year-old Sean do 23-year-old Sean's day? Let's find out. I'm going to wear what I wore. I'm going to eat what I ate. I'm going to do what I did. What could go wrong? It's only one day, right? So like I made a little list of stuff that I would do to try to remember because, you know, the 90s was a long time ago. So, first thing you'd have to do every single day, wake up and get out of bed at 2 p.m. Now that's going to be a bit of a challenge for me because I get up around 5 a.m., 6 a.m. these days. Not really sure how I'm going to force feed myself another 4 hours of sleep. God, it's more than that. It's like another 8. That's a lot of sleep.
Let's go!
Now, as I say, I'm kind of a morning guy these days, so even sleeping in till 9 a.m. is sort of a stretch for me, so we're gonna see how this goes. And I totally just woke up at my normal time and checked the clock, realized what had happened, and went back to bed. But that's when things got kinda hard. So in the interest of mental health, I decided to call it at 11 a.m., which is about 3 hours shy of my stated goal of 2 p.m., but I didn't let it bother me. I just got dressed and did my first task. Make Bodum coffee. I don't think there was any other way to make coffee in the 90s. Bodums were everywhere. Or French press, if you will. Ooh, the ennui. Next, turn on some alternative radio. Radio was still a thing. You had to live in a big enough city though. Small town radio in the 90s was terrible, but if you lived in a larger city, bigger market, you might be able to hook into something a little bit better. Oh, then you gotta eat breakfast, or I guess brunch. No, I guess it's not brunch, because like brunch is between breakfast and lunch, but this would have been like after traditional lunchtime. Lunch meets dinner, linner, lupper. A 2 o'clock snack of mostly bread and cereal, grains, milk, that kind of thing. But when I got to the refrigerator, I realized that I actually had some leftover pizza, which is a pretty authentic lupper, so I just called that a win and moved on. Then your day has options. And option 1 would be a work day. On these sporadic occasions that I worked, doing dumb stuff, waiting tables, worked at a chicken wing factory, the giant hot dog mascot, handing out flyers, actually pretending to hand out the flyers, just throwing them in the garbage and then coming back early to say you're done. Option 2, go to a coffee shop. This was probably most days. You're gonna wanna bring a journal with you so that anyone that looks at you knows that you're a really insightful and kind of an emotional person who's got a lot of deep thoughts that they need to get down on paper because it's just like tearing them up inside to have it in there and you just got to get it out. Or you would be writing your screenplay because everyone was about to be an actor, producer, or screenwriter in the 90s. The important part is that someone see you do it. That was what was key. Otherwise, it didn't really matter what you wrote down. 90s movies were, of a certain style. There's kind of a focus on sort of hyper-masculinity, a lot of crime movies, a lot of serial killer movies, tough guy movies. I was totally into all of it. I thought it was the best. Basically, boiled down to frequent instances of one man saying something emasculating to another before either punching him in the face or shooting him in the face. Or, both. You probably had it coming. That was our attitude. You'd be all like, enters bar, approaches Billy, says, hey, pay me that f***ing money you owe me or I will f***ing kill you. Billy, you. Gold. But more about 90s film later. That was a typical day writing. You'd usually have 7-8 coffees while you were doing it. That would leave you pretty buzzed out and a little bit hungry. So usually go get afternoon snack, which was Henry Bar, bag of chips, and Coke. So this little salt sugar bomb was not nearly as therapeutic as I remembered. And the practice of washing it down with more caffeine and sugar was just nuts. I mean, honestly, I don't think I've had a Coca-Cola since the 90s, and it did not agree with me. So with dinner time coming up, but not here yet, it is time in the typical day in the 90s for me to start thinking about walking around aimlessly. You see, back in the 90s, of course, very few people had cell phones and there were absolutely no smartphones. So if you wanted to watch random people that you didn't know do things that you only half cared about, you had to go for a walk. Now, in a bigger city, this worked really well, but I don't live in a bigger city anymore, so I figured that my backyard would be about as good as any place. And this was true enough, I suppose. I mean, I thought my thoughts, I felt my feels. I tried to get into the whole no particular place to go spirit of the thing, but ultimately I just got bored. So after a quick hello to my very curious neighbor, I packed it in and went on to the next thing. So then we gotta actually eat dinner, which is usually just something super heavy and not good for me, like steak or spaghetti, McDonald's, Taco Bell. The important thing is heavy and meat-centric. Then it's time to go to the video store, which was the highlight of my day just about every single day. But I don't know how I'm going to manage that because there are no video stores anymore. Unless I want to go to Bend, Oregon, which I do not. What's in, that's new, that's good, is what I would have asked an adult virgin with encyclopedic film knowledge, except they don't exist anymore either, so I'm stuck with Netflix, which is convenient, but not nearly as much fun. Usually get like 2, maybe 3. Then we just settle in for 8 to 10 hours of movie watching. Back in the day, I used to like to get relaxed for movies. But my lungs aren't what they used to be, so let's just say that I ate a thing, rhymed with which is perfectly legal in Canada, and it relaxed me. Maybe a little too much, but I soldiered on. I made it about 3/4 of the way through the first movie, but learned that at 53, you just can't fight fate. When the movies are over, 1 or 2 in the morning, put in old VHS tapes of Simpsons episodes and watch those until just before the sun comes up. And then you just repeat it all. So, how'd we do? Not bad. That was fun, right? A little bit of nonsense. Am I happier? Are my days better now than they were in the 90s? I would say they are. I eat better, sleep better, I have more money, I have a nice family that loves me, and I have a production company that will make any movie I want, any day of the week, for free, and market it to a global audience. It's a YouTube channel. It's this one. It's this one right here. Anyway, if you guys are still here at this point, you're my favorite people on the internet. Thank you so much for being that. Clearly, you like a little bit of nonsense, so if that is the case, consider subscribing, but be sure that that's what you want. I will see you next time. Be kind, rewind, and have fun. Bye. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot, if you've got them, leave your lupper recipes in the comments. Okay, see ya. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye.